Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It's Monday, October the 30th, 2023. This is program number 1082 of the Lunchroom, and I'm your host, Alex George Jr. In addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can get us at our website, rcistlucia.com. We're also streaming on our YouTube feed. Just search for Radio Caribbean International on YouTube, and of course, be sure to subscribe to that page as well. Now, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number, as you know, is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. As well as our WhatsApp number, you can message in to 724-0008. You can also call in to that number as well. Again, it's 724-0008. Now, some birthday greetings going out today to Mrs. Anya Whitfield. Happy birthday to you, Anya, and we're wishing you the very, very best of birthdays. Also sending birthday greetings out to Miss Adara King. Happy birthday to you. Also celebrating her birthday today is Miss Nessa Chandler. Happy birthday to you, Nessa. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. Mrs. Berthia Paul, you're celebrating your birthday as well, so we do hope that you're having a fantastic day. And also sending some birthday greetings out to Mr. Lucan Modest. Happy birthday to you. And of course, you're celebrating it with some greats out there. Courtney Walsh, he celebrates his birthday today. He turns 61. Diego Maradona, had he been alive, he would have been 63 on this day. He died 3 years ago, as you recall. And as well, interesting enough, Christopher Columbus is born on this day, as well as the second U.S. President, John Adams. A quick bit of history for today. Back in the year 1899, so the Battle of Ladysmith, that happened in Natal in South Africa, where the Boer forces defeated the British. 1917 saw the British government giving its final approval to the Balfour Declaration, and of course that had great implications to what we're seeing right now in Israel and Palestine. 1961, on this day, the Soviet Union tested a 58 megaton hydrogen bomb, and it was called the Tsar Bomba, and it's been the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated to this day. And in 1973, on this day, the Bosphorus Bridge across in Istanbul in Turkey was completed, connecting the continent of Europe and Asia for the first time. And today on our program, we're going to be taking you to Africa. We're going to be taking you to Tanzania. We're going to be taking you to Kilimanjaro. And it's going to be a really, really interesting program, as we're going to be talking up to two St. Lucians who have, in fact, been able to make that climb. And it's going to be a really interesting story, no doubt. Hope you can stay tuned for that, for our dish of the day. The Daily Dish is brought you the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Joux Lanes, and Slack Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome to this program for this Monday. Of course, we do hope that everybody had a very enjoyable Journée Creole over the weekend and took in some of the wonderful Creole heritage culture that was certainly on display, whether it's through the language, through the food, no doubt, which seems to dominate the weekend and the day itself. But we do hope that everybody had a very safe and blessed Journée Creole. I saw some pretty interesting athletics out in, I think it was on the Leclerc playing field. Was it a greasy pig that some gentlemen were trying to catch, and it's created quite a really wonderful story there indeed. But we're going to be shifting gears and talking about the exploits of mountaineering. And of course, human beings, for as long as they've perhaps known themselves, have always seen mountains as really special places, as places of refuge, as places of pilgrimage, places of meditation, and certainly the idea of getting to that highest peak has certainly been front and center for human beings for as long as we know ourselves. And it's no different here in St. Lucia, our national landmark, the Pitors, of course, mountains, all about inspiration and beauty. And all around the world, people look to these high points as places to venture, or perhaps sometimes not venture, depending on the story or the folklore. Now, I'm so very pleased that we can look to two young gentlemen. They're both graduates of St. Mary's College. The motto being Sumum Atingitur Nintendo. The summit is reached by striving, and they have certainly reached the summit of the highest mountain in Africa. That is Mount Kilimanjaro. It is found in Tanzania, in the East African region, and it is also, it's not just the tallest mountain in Africa. I mean, that in itself is a tremendous feat, but it's also the highest single freestanding mountain above sea level. And of course, these gentlemen are going to be speaking about that, how they felt even just seeing this for the first time, and the inspiration, and of course the hardships that they probably had to go through on that journey. And it's really interesting how things have aligned, because a bit of the backstory here, I was attending a 90th birthday party sometime very recently, and Mrs. Florenville came up to me, and she told me that, her son is just back from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and he doesn't seem to think it's anything to talk about, but she was so ecstatic about it, and insisted that, we get together and do some sort of an interview about it. And I said, that's really amazing, and this is a really, really wonderful story. And then I was thinking back in my mind too, but wait a minute, I know somebody else who's done this. And it just so happens that although he's not based in St. Lucia anymore at the moment, he happened to be on island at the very same time that we were planning this. He's leaving the island tomorrow, and he has graciously agreed to come on as well to do this really interesting interview. And so I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Jordan Florenville, the most recent St. Lucian to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, as well as the first recorded St. Lucian to climb Mount Kilimanjaro as well, Mr. Sifa Polius. And as well, we're joined by Jordan's partner, Ellie Waite, and she's also made the climb with Jordan just very, very recently. Gentlemen and lady, thank you so very much for joining us here on the Lunchroom at Radio Caribbean International. I think I'm going to throw Sifa into the deep end first, given the fact that he was there very, very early on. Sifa, I mean, you're based in the United States now.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, do you see yourself as a mountaineer? Do you see yourself, explain to us why this even came up on your radar, the idea of climbing a mountain of over 19,000 feet above sea level.
No, I never saw myself as a mountaineer, but an adventurer nevertheless. Yeah, so I just heard about it a few times growing up. I think what really stuck it to me, there was this neighbor that would play this reggae mix every morning, and the DJ's name was Kilimanjaro. And then through the years, I started hearing more about it. It would just hit me in different ways. And then I finally decided that I wanted to go to Africa and check it out and climb the mountain. As soon as I thought about it, like, where would I go? I'd be like, I'm going to go to East Africa, and I'm going to go check out that mountain that I've heard about for so long. And I started reading up on it, how feasible that was for me to come out of nowhere and say I would go climb a mountain. I'm approaching 30 at that time, so I wasn't that young, right? So I just did a lot of internet research. I enlisted my brothers to go with me. We started training. We trained a little bit. We learned about the high altitude sickness,
right.
And you need like lung stress training, because up there it's less oxygen up there. So we trained for it. Then we went over there, and I was giving them the story We went over there. We didn't book any tour company, nothing. We were just going to wing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But back up a little bit though. How long did it take? I mean, in terms of the idea of saying, hey, okay, I'm going to do this, and actually, starting that journey to
I would
Africa.
say it took a little bit over a year when I first told myself I was going to do this, and I called my brothers up immediately, and I'm telling them, hey, I was thinking about this. I need you guys to come with me. Let's go do it. And they're like, okay, So I just formulated a plan to get us from where we were to there, and we had like 12, 13 months, maybe just a little over 12 months to do it. So the first thing we did, I think, was just figure out, our flight paths, how we were going to get there.
Right.
And actually, it was supposed to be this wild adventure because the deal was to get to Tanzania, but depart in Cairo. So we were going to like backpack half the continent.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is.
Because Tanzania is like in the middle and the
Right.
west, and we were going to go up through Kenya, Ethiopia.
And you're planning
Sudan.
on backpacking.
Yeah,
you say?
just backpack, with the hiker's backpack and everything we need. And we say, the thing is, just being up there in the U.S., I've met white people who's done it. So I was like, me, I'm a black man, I'm an African. I should be able to just go there and do this. If they can do it, I can do it. So.
But was it? I mean, did you have any of that type of experience before? I mean, hiking or backpacking for that? Distance? Or was it just?
Yeah, just living on the island, like we were just talking, just living on the island, and growing up climbing trees, swimming out. I've swam out to Rat Island before.
Right. Okay.
Jumping in the cliffs behind SMC, the
blowhole.
Yeah, the blowhole.
Right.
Just all these young island boy.
Right. So you believe that you could do anything, therefore. I mean, you live in St. Lucia. You could hike 2,100 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then there is the dream big factor.
Right.
So it's like, I'm going to challenge myself to do something great. So it did seem to me like it was a big thing, a very big thing that I was about to do, something that I've never done before. So it did seem like a challenge, but it seemed exciting, and it just, when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I could pull that off.
Wow. And you said it took like about 13 months of planning and making it happening.
Yeah.
But then, of course, from what you're saying, even getting there, not everything was in place. You still had to figure out a lot of things on the ground.
Oh, we had to figure out a lot of things. And I mean, like you just learned, like climbing the mountain was just one part of this bigger adventure. So we had to figure out visas and the different laws of the different countries we were going through. From the time we land in Dar es Salaam, we ran into problems because we didn't have a return flight out of Tanzania. And they're like, what are you guys doing? I was like, yeah, our return flight is from Cairo. They're like, oh, no. No, you fly into Tanzania, you need to leave from Tanzania. So we had to figure that out just to get into the country. But even there, the laws, like my brothers with American passports, they received more of a headache. They let me go. They looked at my St. Lucian passport, and they're like, oh, no visa, nothing. They let me go, and they held them up.
Okay.
Yeah, asking for that return ticket.
Fascinating. Now, this all happened in 2012.
2012.
What period of time was this? When did you decide that you wanted to do this? Was this?
Oh yeah, that's when I was turning 30.
Okay.
Yeah, in June.
In June. Okay.
Yeah, in June. Yeah.
And is that the best time of year to do it? I'm just wondering in terms of the weather and.
Yeah, we did research that too, and they said the rains. I believe the rains actually came. I thought it was around the time you did it, like later on the year.
Well, when we spoke to the guys, they said March, I believe, March and May with the heavy rain period.
With the heavy rain?
Yeah.
And just after when we did it.
And that could be true. I can't remember, but I do remember looking at that.
Right.
And seeing if that was going to be a factor we would have to deal with, and it wasn't.
Really, really, really fascinating. And of course, just stick a pin in there a little bit, Sifa, so we can in fact get Jordan to join in on the conversation as well. Jordan, you're a little younger than Sifa, and you've got a big passion, I think, for adventure as well. Tell us a little bit about that mental journey that brought you to take up a feat like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Well, first things first, I have to thank Sifa because it's so crazy how you mentioned things are lining at the same time. And let me just say, first and foremost, he's probably one of the biggest reasons, without knowing him personally, I'm up the mountain.
Wow.
Because another Sumerian, Brandon Joseph, mentioned him to me years ago when we were young, because we grew up in Barber. And obviously, there's Last Horse here, there's Peter Floor. When I was 8, that was the first time we climbed Go Peter. So
At 8? Wow,
yeah.
okay.
And crazy at the time, I thought I had asthma. And I remember being on the mountain being like, I might die on this mountain. But I didn't want to panic the adults. But it's just always in conversation with Brandon, he would be like, the mountain I want us to climb as a group is Kilimanjaro. Now, me being so young at the time, I just knew it was a big mountain. I had no idea where it was. In my mind, it was probably in Nepal, near Everest. So there was never really any perspective. But just to answer your question, in terms of mentality, I think there's a quote a lot of people say these days, they say getting after it. I literally just wanted to get after it because the mountain always looming in my mind is Everest. And I'm like, any other mountain is just for me preparation. So when the idea came up, you can ask Ellie, I was like, I don't care for people's opinions. I don't really care for the prep. I just know when we get there, we're attacking, we're getting after it. So I think St. Lucia gave me a really good platform because I've worked in the resorts as a fitness instructor, taking people on tours for about 7 years now. And I've met a lot of people and done quite intensive runs and speed runs up the mountain. And they've always said, and I look forward to hear them saying that too. They say, your Peters are one of the hardest terrains we've come across. Mount Jimmy is so difficult. And I'm like, if they're saying that and they've done a lot other mountains before, whether it's been England or the Alps, I'm like, that gives me a good training ground, even if we don't have the elevation, to be able to get there and at least at minimum physically meet those requirements. So yeah, in terms of mentality, it really did not scare me. I was like, let's get there. I don't think I can prep myself physically any more than I can, so much so. So let's just do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Now, you're doing it I suppose you're not as old as when Sifa did it.
Close,
but close enough. And you said you didn't really focus so much on the prep because you had been preparing pretty much for years and years in terms of your physical fitness.
Yeah. Not necessarily for Kilimanjaro,
right?
But just the day-to-day life. It's just so cool hearing the parallels. Like he said, he's from Rat Island, and we literally did that last week. So I was just like, it's amazing to see same school. Again, island lifestyle, the kind of belief to just do something big. Right. It's awesome to hear the parallels, and I'm like, that's almost a 10-year gap between when he did it, but the mental thought process behind it, I think, is quite similar. So, yeah, to be there with him and be like, this is the guy we had the conversation about. This is the Lucians I had in my mind on the mountain. I was like, there's Lucians who did it. Right. I have to represent. And he did it, well, early spoiler alert, sorry. I did it in a 10-day span from landing to exit. He did it in a five nights, four nights?
5 days.
Yeah, 5 days. So I would have probably taken realistically about maybe our first day we didn't summit. We were just getting ready. The last day doesn't count as well. So let's say realistically 6 days. So it's just, again, within 10 years, I am sure the conditions, the adjustments on the mountain are a lot more convenient. So I was just like, I have to represent because these guys I know did it in much more adverse conditions. So yeah, meet your heroes.
Well, this is really, really, really fascinating. And there's so many different approaches that I want to get into at this point. Sifa, I mean, you did it, as you said, in 2012, and
2012.
was it a big thing then? Was it like, were there a lot of people going up the mountain at that point? Was it a big tourist attraction?
There were a lot of people, but the route I took was not, people didn't go up that route. I took a difficult route. It's a quicker ascent.
Okay.
So more mountaineers would take that route, and the tourists would take another route to the other side that has a more gradual ascent. Sorry, I said descent.
Right. The whole idea of seeing this mountain for the first time. Speak a little bit to this. Because we've got some lovely mountains here in St. Lucia, of course. The Pitors, but the Pitors is like 2,700 feet. Go Pitor is 3,145, I think. Sorry, Mount Jimmy. But a mountain of that scale and grandeur. What was your emotions like at this point?
You see it. The mountain is featured in a lot of media. Like at the beginning of The Lion King, it shows the mountain. I think even Coming to America, you see the mountain at the beginning. So it's an icon in Africa, in East Africa. It is the representation of East Africa. You can see it from the Serengeti. You can see it from the different towns all in Kenya. You can see it on the that last black rhino reserve they had there. You could see it there. So when we got to the town Moshi, that's the town that services a lot of the routes. You could just see it in the distance, just this majestic giant thing just stretching up and with the gray head, and it's but it does not look like the Pitors. The Pitors look steep. Mm-hmm. So it's not that intimidating because you see it's just this gradual,
right?
This gradual climb. It does not look like a steep mountain shooting out of the water. So I guess if you're from here and the steep hills we have, it will not intimidate you.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. And that's interesting that you're saying in terms of the gradients that you actually have to deal with. But of course it's also snow capped.
Yeah, I think it's like the world's only snow-capped mountain in the tropics year round, because there's one in Hawaii that loses its cap in the summer but regains it. But Mount Kilimanjaro stays with that ice cap.
Mauna Loa, I think it is. But you're speaking about this now. So that's a whole other level of complexity too. Have you been did you get that type of exposure in terms of doing?
No. So the main thing you're going to deal with, what we were talking about, is the weather. And then the way your body's going to respond to it, right? So there is the cold, but there's also altitude sickness, where your body's just not accustomed to functioning at that height. Your hemoglobin cannot function the way it does at that height. You have to go through that adjustment period, and then that last night you summit the ice cap. So all the other nights you get to the ice cap, then you have the base camp around the ice cap, and then the last night you summit the ice cap. So now you're going up steeper now, and you're going up through, maybe with me it was maybe almost knee-deep snow.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it was almost knee-deep snow.
Wow.
There are paths, like beaten paths, other climbers, so you try to stay that. You can see the rocks coming out of the snow. So it was tough. And the other thing about it is now you're above that protective layer of the atmosphere, right? So you're getting all these UVs directly on you. So you're freezing, but you're burning at the same time, and you don't realize it until you get down and you see. So yeah.
So you're gonna be protecting your skin.
You have to be protecting your skin. You need the sunscreen. You need something with the hood to cover you up. You have to, or else you burn.
Speaking a little bit about the guides, though. You're going up with a guide, I would imagine, Jordan.
Yeah. We again, I don't know if I should say it ahead of him, but again, when we were comparing stories, it's almost polar opposites. Before I even touch on that, our summit night. So obviously, because of climate change, when we got there, no snow. There's glaciers at the top, but we had no snow. But we saw, our guide sent us a picture a week later, complete snow. So the conditions, like he says, can literally change a few days from each other, where we were walking on sheer rock and a lot of gravel type rock to get to the top with the glaciers there. But again, a week later, complete snow. In terms of our guide, we had a massive group. So ours was a bit more of the conventional route. We took the Lemosha route. And I do think since then, the trail has seen a lot more protocol involved. We spoke to one of the guides and he was telling us, what's the name of the wall, Els? The Branco Wall. That area is so precarious. And it's the traffic jam of the mountain. We had to get up very early to beat that traffic, but we still got caught up. And there's probably easily 200 people trying to come across that entire wall. You have guides navigating across each other. And the reason I know certain things have changed, he said when he went, he carried about 40 pounds. And you know the conversion for pounds to kilograms, but that weight is being carried plus our bags by the guides. So they're literally strapped with a massive 70-liter backpack, and they have chairs and tents, stuff on their head, going up an incline, walking all over each other.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy because at one point they were saying 20 guides would die a year falling off the mountain, but now it's regulated carry sizes. So I think maximum is 40 kg to go up, and now it's dropped down to 4, which is still not good, but better than 16 more people dying per year. So a lot more organization in terms of our group had 29 people. We had 120 staff doing toilets.
120 to support 29 people.
Exactly. Toilets, tent setup, food setup, actual guides, 2 guys carrying massive first aid respondent gear. So again, it's just listening to those 2 stories. You know, I don't want to say impromptu because they did plan it, but the kind of smaller size,
very cavalier,
exactly, compared to ours. And I was telling him, I came with the mindset that we were going to have his experience.
Yes.
And I was telling Ellie, wow, this is quite luxurious.
It's it's tourist sanitized.
Honestly,
almost,
excellent book. Now, bear in mind, I think our company gets a better combination of guides because even compared to the other people who were there, our tent was massive. We had the tents carried for us and set up for us by the time we got there. We didn't have to do anything. All you really had to do was focus on eating and climbing. So I do think the company we went with, and this is not a promo, did take care of us a bit more than the other groups because of the size of people we had. We had 29 people, so a lot more funds to kind of allocate to the staff,
And it's interesting that you're saying all that because just in a matter of, 11 years, you're seeing some significant shifts. I mean, Sifa, was that available still in your time?
That was available. Did I know? No. You know, I mean, I'm in Zanzibar. We're hanging out on the beach in Zanzibar. And I asked the bartender, hey, I want to climb the mountain. Classic. You know, do you know somebody? He's like,
so you really got there and you would have no.
I mean, I learned the different routes so I can pick it. I learned the process when you get there.
Right.
But you know, as far as having a company with guides, no. The bartender he got somebody on the phone and I spoke to that person. And he told me, take my number down and get to Moshi, which is the town that services the mountain. And when you get there, call me. So he said, take the bus. So we got a bus.
So you took a bus?
Yeah, you take the bus.
So you from Zanzibar, you got into the mainland.
Right.
You then took a bus.
Right.
How long did that take? That's a really long journey.
Yes. So the buses leave early. So we did the night in Zanzibar. We left back to Dar es Salaam, which is the city. When we got there, it was too late for the bus, so we had to spend another night in Dar es Salaam, then get up early and go catch the bus. And it is the bus everybody takes, the local
bus.
Wow.
The minibus. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I love that.
Yeah, and it's like one of the coasters we have there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like that, and we rode, and just everybody, the locals there. We were trying to talk. I did get sick on the bus though. I did. There's a rest stop they take you to, like halfway through, but you get there. You probably get there in about maybe 6 hours. So it's a 6-hour bus ride, to Moshi, and then when we got there, I called the guy, and then he came in, and then he told us what it's gonna be. We're gonna leave out in the morning, and he had 2 more guys with him, so it was the 6 of us, me, 2 of my brothers, and 3 of them, and we did not take the part of the guys carrying our stuff because we planned, like I said, we planned going all the way to Cairo, so we had our backpacks, and we're climbing. We have like 40 pounds on our back, and we're climbing, and they're there, and they're helping us. We took the Machami route, which is a steeper route. It gets you there quicker. So about a quarter of it is a bit tactical, where you have to hang on to the side and do a little bit of cliff hanging.
Okay.
Yeah. So his was like, you a walk up, except for the wall, right?
Yeah, except for the wall where there's a little bit more scrambling, and towards the final decline.
Ours was up, around, but I selected that route because it's the most scenic. You see all the waterfalls, the plant life. It's beautiful. It's real beautiful.
And it's interesting that you have those. Do you still have those options to today, though, in terms of the route that you took?
I believe these options has existed for years. They've existed for years.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have been speaking with Mr. Sifa Polius, as well as Mr. Jordan Florenville and Ellie Waite. And we're talking about Kilimanjaro. They have been able to climb that mountain, and we're going to have to take a pause at this point in time to find out about the weather, because of course we are in the hurricane season, and we've got to keep checking what's going on out there. Actually, there was a 5.6 magnitude earthquake which was just recently felt in the Western Caribbean over in Jamaica. But we'll talk about that later on as well. But let's get into our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. With all kind of tiles, come down to Tiles Plus. We also glad that's and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down, don't mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses, Jugosile, and Slack Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
Island style. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, we'll have to make the right choice. Island style. Whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, spaces and ground. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Castries, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with CNW Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, CNW Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
Apologies, we don't seem to have the weather report available. Of course, we'll hopefully get that to you at some point. But of course, ahead at the lunchroom, we are discussing, well, I'm not too sure what the weather is like right now over at Kilimanjaro, but this is what we are discussing, the highest peak in Africa, highest freestanding peak in the world. And 2 gentlemen who have been able to climb it, Mr. Sifa Polius, who did it back in June of 2012 and just back from it. Well, not so, was it May?
October.
October, you just, right. So just last month, This month. What am I
This
talking
month.
about? We're still in October.
2 weeks.
Two weeks ago. He just came back, and Mr. Jordan Florenville, and of course also Ellie Waite, who is his partner, and they were just able to do so. And congratulations to them, to these gentlemen. Sifa, you're of course based over in the United States. Are you based in the Rockies? Are you based anywhere near
Flat Texas.
Flat Texas? Texas has a
Texas.
few mountains, I suppose.
Yeah,
but nothing to really
No.
challenge you. And you did mention that journey even beyond completing Kilimanjaro and then the backpacking of Africa.
Yes.
How did that go? Did you were able to actually?
We didn't finish it. We got to
Because I'm thinking you had to pass through Sudan. And
yeah,
that must have been
and that was the blocker right there.
Okay.
Because back then you had the conflict there
Right.
in Darfur, and we were going, our route was taking us right through it to get to the lake, then cruise down the Nile to Cairo. That was the intended. But I had some friends over there, and this one guy, he's in Uganda, and he was begging me, don't do it. They're killing people that look like you there right now. Don't do it. So I just, anytime I leave, my focus is to get back home. So my focus was not to make it to the top of the mountain. It was to get back home.
okay.
Yeah.
Right,
So I
right.
make decisions accordingly.
To return, and,
Yeah,
and
to
that of
return.
course is really 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 important. But your thoughts of Africa, though. I mean, in 2012, I mean, it's perhaps certainly has changed quite a bit since then. But share with us your
Oh,
thoughts.
beautiful. It's very beautiful. We went on our way there, we stopped in Dubai. We stayed the night there. And then we got into Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam, it's the capital city. So it's very urban with the high rises and it has the urban atmosphere and culture to it. Right? Right off the coast is Zanzibar, so you can board the ferry in Dar es Salaam and go to Zanzibar. Zanzibar is beautiful. It's this beautiful tropical island. But it's the difference with here and there is that it's flat. It's flat, so you don't get anything the mountains and hills offer here. So no waterfalls, nothing like that. But it's this very beautiful tropical island, crystal clear white sand beaches. So it has good snorkeling, dolphins, turtles. It has this historic slave port, which is where the ferry lands. It's so there's a lot of history there and a lot of culture there as well. Just the open countryside. Like I said, we took the bus to get from Dar es Salaam to Moshi, just traveling the open countryside, the farmlands. It's beautiful. It's just this vast openness. You see the hills. Then when you get to Moshi, you're kind of close to the Serengeti by then. So you get that. It starts looking like plains.
Grassland.
At that point, yeah. And right in the distance, you could just see that mountain shooting up. When you get to, after that, we went to Kenya. Crossing the border there, it's the same. They recognize us as the Pan-African community, is what they call it. So there's no visa to get into Kenya either.
Okay.
And I mean, they go a step further than the visas. I saw that I got a better treatment there than my brothers with American passports, and it was crazy. They had to go and, they scrutinize them more, but if you're like them or one of them, then you just, going through type of welcome. And Kenya is beautiful too. Kenya, right there from Tanzania to Kenya, it's nice. It's open plains with the trees. You see the zebras and just grazing. They're just all over. You see camels. You see not the wildebeest. You have to kind of go into the Serengeti for those, but you see some wildlife. You see some wildlife, and then we stopped at a town in Kenya for a rest, and that was from Moshi to Nairobi. Right, we stopped at this nice little village in Kenya for a rest, and then we continued on. Nairobi, it's another capital city. It's the capital city of Kenya. Nice buildings, nice people. It's it's an urban city, so there's everything there. KFC, everything you might want. Before that, we actually spent a night with the Maasai over
did
there.
you?
Yeah, in the Serengeti. Yeah.
Okay.
Stayed in there.
So you really did try to get every
Yeah, I tried
bit
to
of the
get it because
experience.
from the mountain we went camping in the Serengeti, and then we chilled with a Maasai tribe out there, and they took us to like the ritual jumping thing
Right,
they
the
do and
yes.
everything. Yeah, I actually have a warrior spear I got from one of them.
Sweet.
Now, how did you manage to come through
Oh.
customs with
Broke it down,
Okay.
park it, checked my bag, and yeah, it made it. I got that. I got a shield.
A shield as well.
I got
Awesome.
a shield. I got some stuff, man.
Oh, that really is fascinating. And your desire to go back at any point?
Yeah, I do desire
Yeah.
to go back. Maybe, I don't know, maybe do the Serengeti again because it's just beautiful, and Zanzibar. Maybe these two things, because Zanzibar is just I like the resorts there, just the little bungalows just on the beach.
So it sounds like you retired, Sifa. You're
Oh, yeah.
no more mountaineering for you.
No.
You're just gonna be chill on the beach.
Yeah, that was not really my thing. I just went after an adventure.
Right,
You
right,
know, so
right.
there's still adventures to come, but maybe not climbing a mountain. After that, I did a PTP tour, then Gopi tour, and just to say, hey, I didn't go over there and climb theirs, but didn't climb ours.
Right.
So I did that, and I'm good.
Fascinating indeed. But Jordan, you're a bit of the converse. You're the reverse of that, I would say, because you really are very much dedicated to this idea of mountaineering. I mean, you've done that 3-peak challenge, is it? Gopi Tour, PTP Tour, and Mount Jimmy all in one day.
Yeah.
And that's a new thing now. I understand that is being pushed. You might want to
Indeed.
speak a little bit about that and that
definitely.
experience.
First things first, like shout out to him. Like he did such. Honestly, I love hearing about his because honestly it's such a converse experience. I mean, I'll just touch on quickly the culture before I get.
Oh
to the
yeah,
topic.
of course, yeah, sure.
But
sure.
like, unlike him, it was very expedient. We got there, we did the mountain, we had to head back to St. Lucia, so we didn't do anything extra. What I can say about the local people is they, honestly, I've never felt more embraced in terms of, being black in another country that's not, another region that's not the Caribbean. I was like, you can ask Eddie, from the time we got there, from the time the dancing started, because their dancing is very similar to our masqueraders,
Right.
it was almost like it was a seamless transition. Everything that they did, I could pick it up.
You identified
And it was
yeah.
like a non-verbal communication. And there's videos where they show when they're kind of welcoming the tourists and the guests, like they put me amongst them and then they welcome the rest of them. And I was just like, I mean, there was another guy who his roots is in Congo. And I think the only disconnect that he had was because he grew up in Ireland, the Caribbean dancing, the recognition of the beats and then the movement, it wasn't as acute to him. But man, every time the dancing from the first day to the last day, when we descended and got into the village, massive crowd. And
so you were leading the dance back.
I wouldn't say I was leading it because I didn't want to kind of take away from what they were doing. Even when he mentioned the bags, I wanted to carry my bag, but I was like, that might affect their tips. And so I was like, do your thing. I'm humble and I'm ready here to learn. But that cultural exchange, I still have some of their contacts. So we have one guy who texts me like every morning, and another guy I'm hoping to at some point help him to get here to do our mountains. But they know how to show true hospitality. I was blown away. And just the last thing that stayed with me was on the last day, I had 3 bars left and I gave it to the guides. These guys broke that up and shared that among 30 people. Every guy that would pass by, they would break it and give it to the next one. And I was like, that's something obviously you learn, kindness. But seeing that camaraderie really spoke to me. I was like, this is what we need to be doing as like a community. These guys, separate tour, separate group, and everyone that would stop.
They're still
Here
sharing.
you go, here you go, here you go. But I digress. So quickly on the
No, but that was really important though.
yeah,
And
honestly,
thanks for
I just
sharing
had
that.
to mention because it spoke to me and like it's one of my highlights, seeing that camaraderie amongst like the different groups. But just to touch on it, yeah, the mountaineering thing is something I will not give up. It's me. It's what keeps me going. I mean, literally a few days ago we just climbed PTP Tower again and we just got back. the free pick thing.
Now, this is something that I think 99% of St. Lucians have not done yet.
Exactly.
99.99%.
And I'm saying on air, St. Lucians do pity pito. Train appropriately, get yourself prepared. It's a tough climb, but it's our island. There's so many tourists that have done this, and the ratio of locals to tourists is astoundingly low. So there's loads of people on island, you know, the Father Natures of the world, the Geoffrives of the world, the Amazon Adventures, whichever one it might be. Get on with some of the guys who can do these things and do it. You know, the Free Pick Challenge started as when I turned 24, 23. I was like, this is Michael Jordan's number. I was named after Michael Jordan and Sir Arthur Lewis. And so I was like, I have to do something insanely hard every birthday to just keep myself at a certain threshold of I can push that much. And I remember telling Jean-Louis, who is popularly known now as Father Nature now, the goal is to do the Free Pick Challenge. And I don't know if anybody has done it before. Still debatable to this day because we know the guys who've also done it as well. Awesome guys, by the way. September 20th, we went to my aunt's house in Choiseul, and we just, with another one of our friends named Denzel, and we started at 4 a.m. in the morning, did Mount Jimmy, paced ourselves because we didn't know what it was going to be like. Did Piti Pito, and then we finally got to Go Pito with a few cramps. But I think from the moment we did that, as well as a few other events, you know, doing Piti Pito, before we did the Free Pick Challenge, I only did Piti Pito once before. And there was this kind of view around Piti Pito that if you did it, your life was on the line, and you likely might die, and you need ropes, and only the cadets or like people who were extreme mountaineering, like guides who could do it. But when we did it, I was like, guys, this is backyard for us. Like this was fun. Like, yes, I get it's steep. I get there was ropes, but I would remember being in absolute bliss on Piti Pito, and then from then trying to do speed runs. Can we get to the top in less than an hour? Can we do it faster than that? You know, running down the mountains with the guys. So, like St. Lucia, people don't understand it's a really good playground. You know, Ellie's done it as well. She's done both of the peaks, soon to do Mount Jimmy and do the Free Picks as well. So it's like, for me, the goal now is to, again, Everest is the big goal, but all of the Caribbean mountains, we've done Dominica, did that very much like him. So his situation is how I ended up being on Mount Diablo 10 in Dominica. So yeah, I'll never stop the graph because
and Dominica is definitely steeper than us. More difficult trails. Have you done the Valley of Desolation?
Not yet. It's a project to head back because we initially just went to Dominica to do every single waterfall in a week, which we almost managed to pull
every single
off.
waterfall in a week.
So
there are a lot of waterfalls in Dominica.
Trust me.
So
we were doing multiple and they were literally running to every single one of them, run back, run to the next one, run back. But there's more of that to come, and I think the Caribbean, sometimes we know of the beauty of the place, but for me, seeing the fitness transition into me really enjoying the nature.
Right.
You know, being able to run down the mountain, get a snorkel, swim to Rat Island. The ability to do these things and immerse yourself in the nature gives you a different type of appreciation. So, you know...
I suspect, Jordan, we need you training the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and our discipline services.
I mean...
certainly, that type of mindset, you know, in terms of fitness is really, really important.
But yeah.
But you also mentioned, of course, some of the, the value added that's coming out of this in terms of the economics, the tourism. I know St. Lucia has recently been recognized as an adventure tourism destination, winning an award for that. You're seeing, you think, a growing sector in that regard? I mean,
Definitely.
a lot of interest there?
Definitely.
You mentioned, I think, Father Nature.
Exactly.
I've seen that on social media.
nominated for some awards, and I think he's won something as well. But again, I'm going to pivot back to Sifa. It starts off with like
the inspiration,
people like him who just did it, maybe not off a whim in a sense, but to be adventurous. That, like, for me, it's all about setting the precedence. He's done that now. I'm definitely going to take that, and like I've already compiled a list of the top 20 tallest peaks in the Caribbean. That's on my list now. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do the higher climbs. But even in St. Lucia alone, the Piton floors, the La Sorcières, the PT Piton, Go Piton, all of these things have a unique selling point. Whether you want to do a half marathon, an adventure marathon, a triathlon that you can manage, even something as mini as the forts you have on Pigeon Island. All of these things have a unique opportunity.
No, I remember very recently I did Signal Peak, which is the higher one, and I did it very early in the morning, and I was coming down. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And they were like 80-year-olds coming up this, and I was amazed that that a lot of people are definitely looking for that challenge, regardless of age. In fact, even just recently, somebody was sharing with me their aunt was 80 years old and was skydiving.
Yeah.
So people are really pushing the limit out there, looking at opportunities for extreme sports, certainly. But speak to that desire, though, because you seem to want to climb the tallest mountain in the world.
Yeah.
Have you mapped out that journey as to how long that's going to take? What it's going to take for you to get prepared for that? It's a big task, isn't it?
It is, but like, I will not lie to you. I don't have a plan, and I could show you step by step, because look at how Kilimanjaro happens. My plan is to always stay physically ready, continue to network, and every opportunity I have. So, for example, the guy that allowed me to be with his company, the fact that I know he has the company, I'm already pitching him to do Machu Picchu. And then when you get to this group, you meet other people who are like-minded. And I just link up with them. I follow them on Instagram. I message them. They don't respond. Some of them respond. Whoever responds, I take it and I go. If I know I can afford to fund it myself, so for example, we went to Dominica. I was like, okay, this mountain, 4,000 plus feet. I'm like, we can definitely do that if I have my right team. So the same way he had his three brothers, I know if I have a certain combination of people, you can always work those variables in your favor. So my plan is to, as I travel, if in a spur of a moment an opportunity comes to climb a mountain, I have the gear already, I'm fit enough, I'm going. There's no thinking twice. Because these expeditions, like, had it done that the conventional route, they are quite expensive. So for me, as my influence grows, as my own funds grow, anybody I can get on to help fund it, amazing. If I can do it myself, amazing. But I just keep putting myself in a position where people know this guy is fit enough, he has the gear, he's ready to go, and I will go. Because for me, the precedence that he set, fast forward 20 years from now, let's say I'm able to do Mount Everest in the next 10 years. The new landscape that gives people in my community, this country, the Caribbean, is you cannot scale it. Because, again, it's so awesome I'm meeting him, because I'm like, this guy has been in my head for years. For years, I keep thinking there's solutions who have done it.
Right.
And I'm like, I know I'll go back to Kilimanjaro to try to get a faster time. But, like,
it's good to be competitive, yes.
Yeah, but like, he even going to, again, all of us being Sumerians, when you set that precedence for what is possible, it suddenly just breaks the ice on, like, what new will exist. And I want St. Lucians, again, to not just see the pitons, the beauty as just a day tour to do on a holiday. It's something you can genuinely train in, whether you're an athlete, whether you are like me, who is just really into the fitness and the outdoors, and you can have it translate into something that you never know what you can do. Quickly I'll say, one of the guys we met was our leader. His name was Joe. He's done the mountain 51 times. And right now what he is that he's done so much He's consulted for setting up new trails, in terms of health and safety, what to do, what not to do. So there's a lot of room when you do these things for bringing new knowledge. You know, I think we have a lot of great guides here, but we can have a little bit of a better protocol training, first aid training, how to do some kind of mountain rescue. So there's so much that's available, but someone from him to me, to the Father Natures of the world, to the other people, has to kind of expand that territory and give people an idea of, it's not just about climbing the mountain, it's about keeping yourself in a position to be healthy, to be able to be strong, to be able to properly explore the territory, to show that kind of passion and have it translate into something bigger than you, because it's always bigger than you. So, you know,
and that's a good point. It's that mountain is bigger than you in so many ways.
Yes.
And of course, it can be pretty dangerous. You know, that entire feat of going after mountains and mountaineering. See, in terms of your journey, were there people telling you, nah, that you shouldn't do this? It's too dangerous. I mean, what was the?
By that time, people knew better.
So you had already gotten a few adventures under your belt, and so they've
Yeah, just, people know me, and they know if I want it, I'm going to go for it. So, and what he was saying, you believe in yourself, man, first and foremost, not in the guides, not in anybody, definitely pay attention, put yourself in the best position for success. But without that belief in yourself, without you, just saying I'm going to do it, you could plan for years, you could plan for 6 months, but without you actually, pulling that clutch and going into it, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it done. So it does take that personal drive from within to get that. So you're climbing, while you're climbing that physical mountain, you're climbing a mountain within yourself.
Any fearful moments? Any moments when you thought, well, you know what, nah.
Oh yeah. Like, my experience, like he keeps saying, is different from him, because mine was brutal. I mean, we were not prepared. We didn't have all the staff like he had. It was just me and my 3 brothers with, like, basically 3 local guys. And only one was a guide, a certified guide, and he brought like two
others. He just
two
kind
others
of
with him, and he was just recovering from malaria.
Whoa!
Yeah, he was on the final stages, but he hadn't fully recovered. I mean, he had to, after the 3rd night, he had to turn back down. So we only made it up there with one of the guides. So 2 of the guides got too sick.
This is a remarkable story, Steve. I mean,
honestly.
And like I said, I got sick on the bus ride. So when we got to Moshi, I was sick. We're climbing the mountain, I'm sick, and now I'm dealing with altitude sickness. Now my food is not digesting properly, because the food, we were talking about that outside. The food I brought all the wrong food. I brought these nature bars, granolas. I was thinking, I was putting some thought into it. I'm like, okay, I got to get some light stuff, pack some light stuff, because we'll be carrying it. So it was ramen and all this stuff, Snickers candy bar, okay, I'm gonna need the sugar for the energy. All that was not good. We were throwing it up, sick, your body was not digesting it, and we had to rely on the guides' foods.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to, and one of them was a Rastafarian, so he had his just natural stuff. The black tea.
I tell on the mountain.
Yeah, so the black tea, and we had coffee, we had tea, all of that. We couldn't do it. But their black tea came in like a little powder, like local black tea that they put in the water, light the fire. That was just the best thing every morning. The foodie rice, he would chop up the fresh vegetables and and stew it and pour it over the rice and eat that. That was what our body needed. So the locals knew what we needed. We came there with all this, this fancy high tech.
What you thought was good,
and we thought the electrolyte powder you mixing with the water, the glucose you mixing with the water, man, all of that, none of that worked. The last day, summiting the ice cap, like I said, it was snow, maybe up to your foot snow, so you had to try to walk the beaten path so that you wouldn't get snow, and we weren't prepared with the proper clothing or anything. Because like I said, we're on the beach, and I'm like, hey, you know somebody? And So we're struggling, and I'm by that time I'm ready to give up. I'm sick again. I'm thinking about making it back home. I have children, man. So I'm thinking about making it back home. And my brother, I have a brother. He's younger than me, but he's bigger, right? And I'm saying, okay, guys, let's turn it, because I could almost feel like I'm about to die up here. So I'm like, let's turn it. Let's turn around and go, because I have to make it back home. And this couple is walking down the mountain at that point, and they're like, "Don't give up now. You're almost there." I'm like, "Almost there? Where?" They're like, "It's right over this ridge. Almost there." Man, I got so much energy just from hearing that.
Right.
From going from I feel like I'm going to die, and now I'm leading the charge just because they told me it's all the way. So I went through that difference, and there's the saying that defeat is never a reality until it is accepted in the mind of the person facing it. Just that just them telling me it's right over there I was feeling better immediately, gave me all the energy I need, and I made it to there, which is the Stellus Point. That's the first part. Yeah, Stellus Point, and you get like a silver certificate for that. If you make it there, you could say, okay, I've gone to the top of the crater, because the other thing about Mount Kilimanjaro, it's a dead volcano. So that wide top is actually a crater that goes, and it's a very big crater with glaciers and everything down in it. So we made it to Stellus Point, which is the immediate top of the crater up that path. But the highest point, which is the Uhuru Peak, is still like an hour and a half or 2 hours hike. But you're not really climbing as much. You're just walking on the rim
along the ridge
of the crater, until you get to the very highest point. And the guide, he was ready. Okay, you made it. You're getting the certificate. You're ready to turn up.
He wanted to end there.
Because again, I was thinking about turning back, but it's like, no, I'm here. How far? He said it's another hour and a half, 2 hours. Let's go for it. So we went, we walked, and again, I was leading the charge because I'm there. I've almost made it, and that just shows you that mindset is everything.
Wow.
Mindset, like what you tell yourself. Yeah, you could will yourself to live, or in the other direction. Made it there. I sat down on that part with you've now made it to the Uhuru Peak, and I just leaned over. I just threw.
Welcome to the club.
That's a really, really remarkable way of ending it, for everybody. But very real, very, very real story, and very inspirational indeed. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I was well from then on. Coming down the mountain, I was just.
That's all you needed, right?
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Yeah. Wonderful,
that's all
wonderful.
I needed,
Jordan, we're going to have to kind of end it at this point. Gentlemen, this has been really inspirational and really remarkable. And hopefully you guys can network and make some great things happen, I think, as well, in terms of your story. So thanks, gentlemen, so very much for coming on board. We have been speaking with Jordan Florenville, who just summited Mount Kilimanjaro, as well as his an unknown hero, Mr. Sifa Polius, who did it back in June of 2012. And of course, Ellie, thanks so very much for joining us as well. Gentlemen, any parting words or any parting thoughts for the wrap-up?
Man, I want to see you on Everest.
Let's go.
Yeah. That is going to be the first solution to climb Mount Everest.
Flag up there.
Yes.
Definitely.
One thing I forgot to bring my flag
I
on
did
Kilimanjaro.
I did too. I got a lot of flack for it.
Yeah. I had it in my pocket, but I was so,
I did too.
Wonderful. Such great stories.
Parting words, I don't know. I'm like...
Go for it. Isn't that what you said earlier?
What is... I always feel that's such a deep moment. I don't know. My parting words is just, back yourself to, do what other people doubt. And trust God. Like, as long as you kind of back yourself to do it, train for it, prepare for it, trust in the Father, and do what you need to do. And get a good person to come with you as well.
Good advice all around. Thank you so very much, Ellie, Jordan, Sifa, for sharing with us this amazing journey at the top of the mountain. And it really, really has been inspirational. Thanks so very much. And of course, that's all the time we have here at the Lunchroom. We'll be back again tomorrow, God willing, for another program. Hope you can join us for that.